Jolantru, greetings and welcome. Welcome to Deep Space Nine and aboard my flagship, the USS Shadowstar, for this Star Trek Online visual review. Please, members of the Federation, the Klingon Defense Force, brothers of the Romulan Republic, and members, emissaries from the Dominion, please get comfortable. The replicators are active. Choose your beverage of choice, for this could be a longer one. You see, the ship in question today failed to blow me away really when it comes to its stats. A little underwhelming, you might say. But as an incredible YouTuber, Star Trek Online YouTuber, has commented, this frog ship, in his case the ISS Ribbit, in my case something else, is actually a very interesting ship when it comes to its design. She may be missing in some of the detailings you come to expect, but this isn't to say there aren't things to really look at and delve in deeper too. So for this visual review, we'll first of all take a look at the underwhelming customization options, but that's to be expected. Then we'll take a dive into her finer details with demo record and a decent render scale to show you what's sitting beneath the surface. Finally, we'll take a look at her vanity shield options, which again may surprise you. But with that being said, allow me to introduce you to the USS Kermit, NCC 1955F. There's a lot I could talk about here, and so we probably should delve into this now. But before we begin, I have to say a thank you to the people that made this video possible. It's only the right thing to do. So please, allow me to give a thanks to our donators, Negus, Dante Demonic, and of course, Skyhawking. Our past Patreons, Tribal Typhoon, Travis Games, Dark Stars Order, Cross-Eyed Deplorable, and again, Skyhawking. Our Twitch subscribers, Tribal Typhoon, Miss Future Teach, and Fox Plays Games. Miss Future Teach, shouting you again for all those gifted subs you've given. I'm sorry, what's that, comms? We have a new arrival. Allow me to also give thank you to our first official YouTube member. It's a pleasure to have you on board, Spike. Welcome to Shadowstar. With the generosity you guys have shown, shall we begin? Okay, so quick into the customizer. We have two bugs I need to talk about before we really look at what you can do customization wise. Spoiler warning, limited. First of all, looking at the template and what the template is named, the untranslated species ship fe8.costume.preset1. Don't worry guys, that is an issue. It's probably supposed to say Mars or Mars class, something like that. It's just a small issue within Cryptic and a bit of an update on that point. Hasn't translated over yet. It will get fixed. Then there's something Augment Dictator Games actually revealed to me, which I've then gone to test, and that was a graphical glitch that is happening within the game. Now when you put on certain hull materials, in this case he first noticed it with the Defiant, which he has mentioned is one of his favourites. It's actually one of mine too. Occasionally you will find that a strange shadow texture turns up on the ship. It will look like the Corvus paint job is going down the spine of the ship, creating a black texture. However, if you change all your colours to white, which is what he does, it doesn't go away. This is a textural glitch that is happening within the customizer. It's not actually supposed to be there. You do not have to worry too much about this glitch, as when you apply and take the ship to space, the texture pattern will remove itself and you won't have that issue in space. This issue can also occasionally turn up in certain lighting situations while out flying your missions or doing your TFOs. It should be addressed relatively quickly. Cryptic are pretty good at fixing things on stuff like this in comparison to certain other bugs, but it's just something we might have to settle with for now. It's not really a big deal in my personal opinion, even if it does subtract from the visual beauty of the ship. The easiest workaround I found to it whenever it happens is to simply leave the instance or environment you're in and come back. Or if you're here in the customizer, reset your patterns to none, hit randomize and start again, or you can literally save what you got, come back out, go back in, and hopefully it will have removed itself in that situation. With that being said, this is a decent looking ship customization wise, but limited because, well, she is to her own. She's a ship unto herself. There is no others within her family in the game. This results in, although she has the hull and nacelle requisites, she has no alternate template parts to use in those places. Maybe if we get a tier 7 along the line. We all know Cryptic's a gold digger, so they're going to do it eventually. Just a matter of time. You will see possibly an alternate to this ship, and then you will be able to swap out the hull or the nacelles. That's way off in the future yet. For now, we're stuck with this look. Kind of disappointed because I was really hoping you'd be able to remove the nacelles, because the only thing I don't like on this ship and will criticize the most is the nacelles, but we'll get there. What we do have is a walker bridge, and that's quite nice to see. I'm really happy to see they've used that and utilized it on the ship. Gives more value to the ship in my opinion, and it's actually a really nice bridge as well. We have all the window types which unilaterally work well with lighter hull aesthetics, but if you're going for a darker one, you're going to find some standout between them. Personally though, I am definitely on board for using other window types, because at the moment, this one looks like it's got too many. Much better. That greatly improves the aesthetic look of the ship to me. Oh, too bad I've got to go back to this. We also have, nicely, some nice hull types to use, and a good filling out of them too. Along with the 32nd century, we have the Ambassador, which is looking relatively interesting on the ship. Defiant, as mentioned before, Oggy's favourite. I've not found out what Nords is yet, and I'm very interested to know what Nords thinks. We have the Intrepid. An interesting look, I will say, but not one I'm keen on. The Galaxy, one I am definitely keen on, but that's nostalgia for me. Gotta love the Galaxy class. The Janeway, way too fitting to have. Now, I'll be honest, would have liked the texturing to be a bit smoother, but you win some, you lose some. It's a nice grey aesthetic, and it reminds me a lot of the NX. Oh, that's funny to say. Again, an interesting choice. NX Refit, getting very white. Sovereign, not much better. Even if, okay to span it around. Actually, quite like the aesthetic look of this one. Sovereign Refit. Now that's one I am a fan of. Type 0, another one I'm actually a fan of. But that's more down to the fact that the smoothness of the skin really looks great on this ship. It's one of my favorites, okay? Aesthetically looking, the TOS one is my favorite, one of my favorites on this ship. Type 1, dated, but okay. Type 2, still got that dated issue, but yeah, okay. Type 3. Oh, I've just triggered the graphical glitch, I think. Oh, not quite. It might just be the aesthetic of those holes. Type 4. Now this one, despite being aged, is one I actually kind of like on the ship. Gives it a nice, dark, eerie feel. Type 5. The returned by fan favoritism. Mostly probably because of its shiny hull. Type 6. Because we're tier 5ing here. God, the aging process has not deemed this one well. Type 7 for your tier 6s. Yeah, let's improve this a little bit. Type 7A. Much better. Materials have been improved slightly. Type 8. Yeah, TMP. Type 8B. TMP done better. One I actually like on the ship too. Upgrade. Because some of us need an upgrade. I do. And finally, veteran for those of you who went there. Actually looks alright in this ship in my opinion. Again though, the texture hasn't aged very well. Since it's a lifetime membership or veteran memberships only material, cryptic, yeah, I really need to update this one. Make it still worthwhile consideration. Because the Aegis one ain't gonna save us. Okay, but no, something I also want to bring up here, just before we go take a look at finer detailing, because there's plenty to talk about here. For those wondering, these coloured panels that we got on the ship, it is just like the Ambassador that, setup pattern and coloration panels. It threw me off at first, so I'm just saying it myself. Interesting to see what the Lyra is colouring on this. Personally, I think it's going to help us come up with some very interesting aesthetic choices. If you get me. I triggered the shadow pattern with the chorus. Have I? No, I haven't. There we go. Oh yeah, what I can actually simulate kind of. The glitch that is happening is you'll end up with basically that black shadow, but the bits either side, like what look like kind of like wings, won't have the black texture on it. It's just down the spine you're getting the weird shadowing glitch. It'll be sorted. Okay, let's go. I told you I'm Romulan. Well, not quite Romulan. So, it seemed the lighting issue wants to be a thing here in the Dyson Sphere for me at last. Oggy's been having this a while, I'm now getting it. There's more for us to talk about here though, and that actually includes me slowing this down quite a bit so we can see the cloak. Whoops, don't be too fast. Might have overdone it. Ah, here we go. Watch her vanish before your eyes. Now that's a cloaking system that I like. It's a very nice texture. I like the little bits that disappear last. As she fades back in though, we will see that it's going to be one of the harder ones to see when you're piloting her. Not necessarily a problem, but also not a great thing in the long run of things. At least reappearance is quick and easy at the touch of a button. With that being said, there's a few other things to point out for her. One of them being, well, how she gets the joke made about her being the frog ship. I mean, there's more to it than just, yeah, she looks a bit like a frog. To be fair, she does. How about we take a look at some other things she does? If you mind me, whoop! Oh, yes, I triggered this first. Sorry. I'm in the wrong place. Let me correct myself. We are talking... So, here's the frog. Having a little bit of a lighting issue, but there is something interesting to talk about here. And that would be her cloak. Which now, if I slow down just enough, we should see this very beautifully. You guys see as she vanishes out of sight, it has... Actually, the cloak has been gone already. And there she goes. I do like the way that different segments of the ship begin to mask out before other segments. It's like it's dealing with set areas at a time. And pop. Pop, pop, what an evens drop. And eventually she fades back into life, and she is very, very hard to see. This is not going to be one good for the pilots. Oh well. At least as she decides to come back in, she has a very beautiful way of doing that too. Literally the reverse. However, it's not like that's the only special thing she does, is it? She has her console as well. Bringing the nacelles forward, getting the warp grills, I believe it is, glowing quite profusely. It looks like he's doing the red mist, but this time it's the blue mist going forward to create this subspace disruption. Which, in my opinion, I'm going to slow this down a little bit, looks absolutely gorgeous. Just look at the detailing they've added into that. Cryptic can pull off stuff like this, and then next second they pull off stuff like the Dideridex. But they update the texture, but you don't get anything fresh or new. I mean, I guess we got the adaptive AI. This, I think, is a beautiful looking technique. The only problem I've got with it is this is also going to be a frame rate buffer, and it's going to cause some players just more headaches than it's going to be useful, at least from a visual or recording perspective. That being said though, still very nice looking, and I do like the way the texture emanates around it. It seems to start on one side and then specifically go around. The main thing I've noted though is that if you look at these textures as they're moving, it's moving around and out, but it's based on where it thinks your camera is. So it's put the actual main starting point on the sphere here at the moment. If I was to have recorded this but the camera was over here, it would pull it at the front of the ship. I have noticed that changes. I think that is a great thing because it means you standardly get to see the pattern rippling around and away from you rather than always being in one direction, which can be a bit boring. Oh no, it rotates, and I've never noticed it's rotating. Fun times. I'm blind. Don't mind me. Now as we go to detonation point, takes a little while to go off. Whoopee days. That is a very large and effective blue cone. Looking extremely powerful too, and I do like how the nacelles splay apart as if they're releasing it. The nacelles are the actual element that releases the power. As they then move back forwards, and you can see the impulse stream showing it off. To refresh for you guys, and we'll get there nice and quick. One more time, in slow motion. Interesting how the nacelles clap forwards for that blast and then move back again as it finally releases the rest of the energy back into the weaponized position, and then once the whole element is finished, it will move fully back into its standard flight position. And that is a very, very big blast. Like I said, frame rate drop, anyone? Now, there are a couple of other things I want to show you. See, this ship has got some actually very interesting animations added to it. And these are all things that I feel deserve to be shown off. I saw these in testings, but I didn't really comment on it when I was doing the testing. Probably should have done. First up, we're going to do for stationary releases of the piloting and maneuvers. Piloting maneuver number 1, the frog jump. Yeah, I forgot how far that shoots forwards. As you can see, she jets forwards, her nacelles jet backwards, and that's actually where the frog jump gets its name. Pointed out by a legendary builder. Good old Oggy. Pointed this out. Once he said it in his stream, I couldn't unsee it. And now I'm kind of wishing I've seen Grumpy. I haven't seen Grumpy stream recently, and I really need to see that because I would love to see what Grumpy old Nord is saying about this shit. Actually, there's a couple of YouTubers out there with SDO. I want to know what they're thinking. Eliotta. Yeah, buddy. Zelos, show me what you got. But no. We got the frog jump, which I think is a beautiful animation, and it really, honestly, this is going to be the hard bit. There is a certain element of the ship where those nacelles were lifted up and connected to the side winglets there. Actually connected onto the edges of the hull where you could sort of see the plates look like they would align. If that was its normal look, I would be flying this ship even though she doesn't blow me away stats wise, because she'd be that good looking in my opinion, with such a sleek and slender and narrow profile with an interesting organic fish-like flow. My autism has spurred in now. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Amphibian? I think maybe. A certain elegant organic flow to the ship that would have made me love it. However, the nacelles are detached, and we'll get there in a bit. Next one, another YouTuber may have commented about the ship being a bit crab-like. I'm going to assume that's based on this. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the thrusters firing, but I do think it looks really funny when it slides sideways and it literally looks like it's walking with its legs. It gets better though, because you think the stationaries are animated. I mean, you get some very interesting looks animation wise with these. Sorry, I was just checking something there. It's not actually there, it's fine. Yeah, you get some very interesting animation wise from this ship, but there's even more to note. You see, when this ship is in motion, a lot of these animations become that much more animated. For example, while in motion, the sideways movement flips the ship. And you end up with this kind of thing going on. Are you feeling okay there, buddy? I'm pretty sure that's not how you're supposed to be standing. Okay. Oh, I'm not sure if I caught that quick enough. Yay. It's far more animated this time. It's got that nacelle above it. Yes. Okay. we'll get better still because we're going to go into forward motion and then hope... Oh, no. I'm going to go accidental here. Excuse me, why accidental is standing still one? Now this is the bit that kind of disappoints me, but it doesn't. This animation I'm showing only in motion because when you do this in stationary, the animation you get for this is more of a... The nacelles stay low and it stays in line with itself, so the nacelles will lift up the same amount as the main body does. Whereas when you're in motion and you do this, the nacelles lift up above it. Now I thought this would be the reverse, and I did test for this. In reverse, the animation is exactly the same. It's not like the nacelles will now drop down instead of go up. It still does the same look. Not a bad thing, because these animations, having more than one animation for most things is great anyway. But still, I was hoping for a bit more on this animation front. I'm not going to complain too much though. Looks great in my opinion. In fact, I want a screenshot. Thank you, sir. May I have another one, please, sir? How about another animation? Now, I think this one is very subtle, and that's why I kept it in. It took me a few times watching to see this animation happen. God damn it, don't miss it. Right, so it is there. It's very subtle. It's harder to see because I'm tipping the ship down a little bit as well. But if you're in motion and you trigger the frog leap, you may have noticed originally the ship stayed more level, but in forward motion, the saucer itself tips down a little bit, and then the nacelles, they don't exactly tip so much, but they bring the height up. They actually lift. So the nacelles go up higher, and the front of the ship tips down just a little bit. It's very subtle, but it gives such another very elegant, very organic, and very powerful feel to the ship. In honesty, it's one of the things I love most about this ship's design. And if nothing else, that is how I get the fun now. Just saying. Looking at things like this and seeing what details they've hidden in there for you. Now, speaking of hidden detailing, yoink, coming to a stop now. Let's get on to the less animated and more physical detailing. Well, actually, kind of. We can see the ship sort of breathing at the moment, lodging about. Nacelles are moving left and right, up and down, tiny bit forward and backwards. The saucer is doing the same. The nacelles move about twice as much as the saucer does, I've noticed. These are all, in general, pretty nice details to see on the ship. It does make it harder though when you really want to focusing on certain aspects. For example, a way I have of describing this ship at the moment is it is shell-like. If you look around the ship, you'll notice that it kind of has a upper and lower shell that's surrounding another body. As such, I really like the design of the main hull. The front of the ship is probably my favourite piece. Just the forward wedge shape that gives me a defiant feel. Get out of the way yourself. These nice veins for its chin, which don't look out of place at all. In fact, they look like they have a function for this ship landing on a planet's surface or even in the water. I imagine this ship would be quite good in water, actually. Moving along the back, and you've got this area which normally would have been the deflector, wouldn't it? And I'm assuming this is actually still a deflector. It's just, at the same time, I have a debate against it, why it's probably not a deflector. Now this is where I'm going to do a bit of headcanon. in probably too many of the wrong ways. I feel like there's 2 doors here, and this is the shuttle bay itself, with these lips here acting as a protective force field so that the ship, it can be at high warp and still launch shuttles out of it. And then it's got this one door which, like the NX, will allow shuttles to drop down out of and then launch. Or it's got a basic door just at the front here that will open up and ships can launch out and just fly off towards the rear and away. The reason I feel like it's got both in this very small area is just because of the design and the patterns of the ship. It could easily just be one door and it's one or the other, but I can see a reason to have both. It's because of the size of the ship that I'm willing to believe that this is a rather large door launching basic shuttles. Runabouts would launch from the bigger door, but that one that looks like your standard sort of clamshell door, not quite, shutter door would be launching shuttles. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, something again back towards the shell-like aspect of the design, is I do like these support posts. As the windows and that, they do have a really nice design. I like the way they look. My only problem with them is they feel like they're full deck in size. Like they're basically showing the entire deck's size there. And there's way too many of them lit up. Like give us some windows that aren't lit. People aren't going to be in this ship, in every room of this ship at all times, are they? Like, come on. A little bit overlit up, but they look alright. I just feel like a bit more subtlety would have been better here. At least though, it's giving you an idea of the size of the ship. I mean, if we've got 4 decks here, and that's taking about, I'm going to say a 1/5 of the ship. There's probably 4 decks below that, if not a few more, so there might be 10 decks going from the base of this up to what we could see of the first line of windows. A little bit concerned about the fact that that's going around there and it's actually going up a couple of decks, but as towards the back, so it's not exactly flat either. I want to say there's maybe another 6 decks above. Looking at 16 decks. How's that for an estimation? 16 decks to this ship. Anyone think the ship's about that size? The only argument, problem I've got with that is look at those windows and then look at these ones. Now, if we were to base on these windows, which are the same type, this ship suddenly doubles in size because those windows are about, they're either half or 3/4 of the size of these windows. So it's double, it's either doubling or 50% bigger than I was originally saying. You really think this ship is going to go from like 16 to 24 decks? No, I don't feel like this ship. is big enough to be 24 decks. I mean, if you include the nacelles, it probably is, but hey. Okay, the nacelles. My gripe. I'm trying to avoid talking about these because I want to focus on positives, like the beautiful flow of the ship's shape. It's very organic, baby. I keep saying very organic, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. It feels like it's alive. It feels like a living ship. And the nacelles, I will say, fit that feeling. These don't feel out of place against the actual design. What they do feel, though, is annoying. Okay, so here's the gripe. Some people like them, some people don't like them. The detached nacelle design. I'm not a fan of it. Now here's why. And a bit away from Star Trek in the review, but I just want to explain this for those that wonder why I tend to hate on the detached nacelles. Okay. Star Wars, people. Star Wars is a science fantasy genre sci-fi franchise. And that is why I love Star Wars. It's brilliant science fantasy, done in such a creative and beautiful way. Star Trek is its counterpart. The fact to the fiction. Star Trek is science fiction. The difference between science fiction and science fantasy is science fantasy has space wizards. They can do the magical, miraculous, implausible stuff that could never be possibly explained. But science fiction has basis in science fact. The transporters work with the Heisenberg compensator. A little screen guff, science mumbo jumbo, to explain why they work. We have dilithium crystals to focus the matter. Everything in Star Trek up to this point has to have some reasoning behind it. You explain how the technology works. Phasers are based on laser technology. It is possible to develop warp drive and light bending technology. All Star Trek is concepts that have yet to become reality. And that's where it should sit, okay? Now here's the problem. Temporal mechanics has a place in science fact. The faster, the closer you get to the speed of light, the more time is affected. It's relative. But you tell me how those nacelles with no structural locking point stay with the ship when warp is engaged. That sudden jarring burst of speed that rips forwards, bending space and time and light. And somehow it all stays connected. You can headcanon this if you like. Attempt to use a bit of science fact. Now, a theory I will throw out there is gravitational connection and distortion. The primary body is creating a gravitational field that keeps those nacelles there. They're on a certain gravitational wavelength, mumbo jumbo, scientific anomaly stuff. That means that if this ship gets too close to another ship, the other ship doesn't suddenly steal its nacelles, or it doesn't steal the nacelles of the other ship. They can still fly next to each other. But maybe if one ship was to use the right wavelength, it could actually steal the nacelles off this ship. Again, that would be a reason why to not detach the nacelles, but maybe that's why nacelles don't fly away. Here's my issue. I have no problem with detaching nacelles to aid maneuverability. You can use magnetic locks at this kind of range to explain why they're staying there. I say gravitational anomaly because in essence you could say you can use electromagnetism to create a gravitational anomaly. It's a based in theory idea, but when you come up with ideas based on theory rather than fact, it starts to fall apart. This is why no matter what I come up with for an argument for this ship's look and design right now, those detached nacelles, I cannot reason the nacelles being detached. And that's my dislike of them. That was probably a very long explanation. Someone, I believe, might be thinking like me, because I've noticed something, and I really like what I've noticed. All these little blue points along here look like clamping spots. Hang on a second, what are these? Do those look like hatch points or magnetic locks to you? Well, now we know how it's staying there. Those could be electromagnetic emitters. Or do they... And bear with me on this one, because I'm looking at the flow of the ship and it's kind of there. especially when you look at that point of the ship there. Do they attach? Is it plausible that these nacelles aren't actually supposed to stay detached? That when this ship goes to warp, much like with the crossfield refit, these nacelles are supposed to come up to and attach, connect to the ship when it enters warp, and they only detach when they're not at warp. Would I be okay with that? Yes. Having detached nacelles outside of warp isn't really a big deal to me, because we already have technology that can hold things in a magnetic stasis, can hold things at a point. That is based in scientific fact, and therefore, since it's plausible to achieve this, I don't mind viewing the idea that over this much time we have evolved to the point, or our technology has evolved to the point, that we are able to do it on this scale. Because at the moment we can't quite achieve this scale. Not quite. We're getting there. I mean, I think they can do it to something the size of a car at the moment, but yeah, we're getting there, but not quite there yet. Nacelles, I do like your flow. You just really should have been attached. Sorry, I just really feel like they should have been attached. Now, there is something about the flow of the ship which adds to its organic feel, but it's something I don't like on the nacelles, and that's these fins. I don't know why. I don't like the way they look like they got way too close to a sudden, I'm going to come up with the word again, gravitational anomaly, and suddenly it's gone, and it's just suddenly bent everything. It's like, oh, okay. Well, these were supposed to be smooth and flat, but I guess we'll just go with this. Oops. Or maybe this is wear and tear over time. They were, when this ship came out of dock for the very first time ever, these were perfectly smooth, but every time it enters warp, these have gotten bent, and it's like, I need a replacement, thank you. Yeah, I'm not overly keen on them. At all. Okay. Bridge talk. Here we go. Bridge talk. Because I don't want to go into the impulse array just yet. I could pick on a few things here. First of all is the seeming absence of a bridge on this ship. Second of all is these spikes going on the back, which I think are great, and they can't help but feel like, although they're blinking like beacons, they're also some kind of level sensor node. I don't want to say the bridge is there, just because of the way that's aligned and set up. I don't want to say the bridge is that triangle at the back, but it could be. Doesn't have to have a huge bridge on this ship. I mean, escape pod's nice and close by. Reasonable. I'm kind of willing to argue that that's the deflector there, so again, I won't say that's the bridge. Where is the bridge? Now, after looking around the ship a few times, I came to a single conclusion, and see if anyone agrees with me on this one. The bridge is in the center, the heart of the ship. It's at the core. You can't see the bridge on it because, unlike all other Starfleet design, the bridge is not on top of the ship, it's not on the bottom of the ship, it is in the middle. The most protected place. It's about time you learned your lesson, Starfleet. What was it? The Scimitar blowing a hole in the Sovereign's bridge? Or was it the NX class having its bridge blown to pieces? Oh no, that was the alternate timeline. Yeah. Now, I would have liked to have seen a bridge design on the ship. It would have been... I would have adored seeing the bridge at the back. I know that's weird, but hey, a lot of ships, naval ships, have the bridges a bit closer to the back. I would have loved to have finally seen a Federation design with the ship, with the bridge near the back of it. This was one time we could have had a Federation design with the bridge at the back, and it got missed, but okay. Complaints aside, I still think this is a nice look, even without its bridge. Engineering's probably doing the same thing. What about weapons? Now, this is the note I'm going to have to make again. We've gone beyond the 31st century, the Temporal Cold War and all that. Weapons are organic. Weapons became these organic mesh nanites within the hull that would form at different points on the surfaces to give the ships unbelievable range of fire. These ships in the Temporal period were dangerous. They didn't have weapon points because the whole ship was basically one massive weapon point. Anyone notice this ship has lots of phaser strips? I mean, very high-tech looking phaser strips, but a lot of them. First of all, at the front, we have 2 at the very near front, and then 2 what appears to be heavier variants at the back. The triangle in the middle there, because of its pattern and design, I'm theorizing is an omnidirectional, or a tri-directional, since it's a triangle. 4 phaser emitters in the middle there. And then on either wing, we've got another small and a heavier one. And then towards the back, again, you have another 2. That's relatively reasonably placed over the ship. And I've noticed none on the nacelles, only the main body. If we go underneath the ship, which I'm struggling to find at the moment, hello. There are 2 very heavy ones towards the front, 2 very heavy at the back, and none others. But there's a torpedo tube. Right there. That's a freaking torpedo tube. It's one torpedo tube. But then again, at this point, that could probably fire more torpedoes than any torpedo of this time period, or torpedo tube of this time period. Sovereign class be damned. Honestly speaking, I feel like this ship is criminally underrated for what it's actually got going for it. I am a huge fan of her in so many ways when it comes to her visual aesthetic. But I also really dislike 2 prominent parts of her. It's kind of awkward for me. Right, last thing to speak about before we off to the vanities. The actual propulsion system itself, well, the nacelles have got a lot going on for it, which I was kind of ranking over. The warp coils, I do think have a very stunning look to them, and I like the fact that they're part of the weapon base. They may also be the Bazaar collectors, but I'm not sure. Move towards the back and you have the impulse arrays, which again have those veins over them, which is very interesting that these all have veins and vents over them. I think it's to direct the propulsion. And I'm not gonna lie, the impulse array looks very powerful and very nice. In truth, as much as I hate the nacelles, these impulse arrays are my favourite design feature of this ship. I kind of hope to see this kind of impulse array more on future ships. Or am I alone on that one? I don't know. You've got so much potential ships. Show me what you can do. Okay. Now let's go. Hike on over. We're going to take a look at vanity shields. With such limited detailed areas, these vanity shields haven't got a lot to work with. But let's see if we can make this work, shall we? Oh look, Jerfface wants to be on there. We have to start with Jerfface. It is time for the frog. Ribbit. You're not supposed to rib it backwards. Oh, there's just no two ways around this. The two tones, green and the sandy brown. Metallic or not, this just feels froggy to me. But I like it, and I'm going to continue to like it. Just saying. Alliance. Now, what was I saying about limitations? There's not... Where's the yellow gone? There is lots of texture plate 1 and texture plate 2. But texture plate 3, the yellow, I think it's yellow is texture plate 3. Missing. Straight up absent. I mean, there's a teeny tiny bit of it inside in the cell just there. Near the front bazaar collector. It's almost impossible to notice. I am disappointed. People's favourite, by all vanity. Anyone else see this ship just like flying at Naruto screaming that out? Naruto! Oh wait, no, it's Froglight. It's going to be screaming Sasuke! Oh dear. It is the first one that comes to my head though. Demon Wind Shuriken be damned. Oh, I could see the Bulg assimilating the ship. Bulg Vanity Shield. Join the cooperative. Oh, that looks really nice to me. Lacks the blue cybernetic patterns that you normally see from the Bulg cooperative, but I do not care. This one really feels nice. I like it. Shame about the numbers not really showing up though. I just cloaked. No one's going to see this one coming. Discovery Refit Vanity Shield. Ah, I see you have the same texturing issues as the rest of the Discovery so far. The sandy brown looks okay on it, but it also looks like someone just crapped it out. I'm just saying, it really... The detailing is nice, but it doesn't look right to me. How about Discovery itself? See, that's a bit better. It now feels smoother. It's got more of a creamish sandy colour. Interesting about those little blue elements that have turned up now inside in the cells. Is it torpedo? Yeah, I knew it was a torpedo tube. Look at the coloration change in what I called the torpedo tube. It was one. Oh, sorry guys, I'm just flicking around right now. This is probably my fourth favourite so far, based on the ones I see. Emperor's Vanity Shield. This one very easily holds the second favourite on the ship for me. I am an alternative. I am goth, emo, whatever you want to call it. I like the colour black. I like dark. This is very nice looking. Honestly, I'm a major fan of that one. That actually might be my favourite, come to say that. Fakiri Vanity Shield. It's like high tech meets beaten and barren. They don't. They kind of contradict and don't work together. Also, missing out on the fine red plating was something the ship did not want to do. Ferengi. Do you know that kind of works? I could see the Ferengi coming up with a ship in this kind of design as well. I'm not saying the Ferengi are capable of this level of technology, but then again, yes they are. I mean, the Ferengi were able to come up with warp drive. I don't know how they got it, but they still got it and learned to understand it. And the Ferengi's technology level was on par with the Federation when they were first encountered. I think this is a possible outcome. Maybe this ship was actually developed by the Ferengi once the Ferengi joined the Federation. Assuming they do. Herc Vanity Shield. It works, but I'm not keen on it. Don't know how to explain it. It looks good. I will say it looks very good, but I'm not keen on the aesthetic look. Uh-oh. A ship which already has very limited detailing gets given less detailing. Kelvin divergence. I might as well have slapped the Type 1 hull on this ship. And that's what this is. This is the Type 1 hull with a little bit of dirt and rust added to it. Go away, Kelvin. Medical Vanity Shield. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw Oggy looking at some of these shields and he brought up the Alliance, I thought the Alliance was the medical. Yep, and the medical looks very much like you would be expecting it to look on a ship. I mean, if I got the medical frog coming to save my life, I wouldn't feel threatened. But at the same time, I might be a little bit worried. Platinum Vanity Shield. This should be interesting. Very little black. If we didn't have the nacelles, there'd be starch doors. What the hell? This really doesn't spell well for the ship in some of the future patterns that are coming up, does it? Personally speaking, that is. How about... Oh god, where's the next one? Section 31. Okay, you should be pretty good on this ship. Because it's kind of your thing, really. Section 31 nearly beating the Emperor's Vanity Shield in my opinion. Nearly, but not quite. I love the shimmering light though. Zenkethi. Okay, this actually feels like a Zenkethi ship. That's awkward. Throw this hull on it and now I feel like I'm flying a Zenketh ship. Just with detection. I'm not sure how I feel about that. We looked at Jerfface, so let's assimilate and complete that assimilation to answer some questions for us. Right, okay. Oh, that is the deflector there. Interesting. That really doesn't look like it's comfortably attached to the nacelle. And that That within the nacelle looks funny, but at the same time problematic. It's not exposing itself on this side, so it's kind of fitting to be in there. Oh god. Problems. The problems of assimilation on such unusual ships. I think the more we're going to assimilate the ship, they'll do it far more thoroughly than that. Okay, could be good. Visual and defense. I'm not sure what I think, but it is okay looking. I'm just not really sure what I think. The main thing that's bugging me is the texture overlay on the sides of the ship. Kind of breaks the feel for me. The nacelles actually look pretty good with the texture. It's just the main body of the ship, upper hull. Counter command variant. Oh wow. Oh, that one works really, really well. Misha, a fan of this one. Yeah, I am definitely a fan of this one. Damn it. And now Delta Alliance Unimatrix could be the complete opposite. I mean, now it must be armed with disruptor weapons, right? Right in the shadow of that. Why is the texture below so dark? Can't really tell if the nacelles don't look light at all because of the way they're placed. It just seems like just seems like a dark hole with a bit of copperish pinstriping. Dyson regenerative. Oh, the way this ship feels and the way Dyson designs are. Oh, should have seen this coming a mile away. That is gorgeous. If you told me this was a Dyson ship, an actual Dyson ship, I would 100% buy it. I'd even buy the detached nacelles at this point, just because of the way the Dyson, just the whole Dyson technology works. I would buy it and be like, yeah, okay, fine. Dyson using Omega particles or something. I'd still be confused as to how they work with them, but then I'd just assume that they don't go to warp. They use portals for everything. Why do they need to go to warp? Oh, maybe that's why they detached nacelles at one point. They started using portals to get around, and then having detached nacelles didn't matter so much. Next up, Iconian. Now, I didn't comment on Iconian before touching it because, again, the ship has those flows which would work with it, but I wasn't really expecting that. With excluding to the lip of the main body, that works pretty well. Lucari Restoration Intuitive, let's go. The Lucari hull has always had this sort of amphibian, organic feel to it. This just works for me. It works for the flagship. It works. A nice little touch, and not over the top of the Tron feel either. Mako resistance. Oh, resilient. I got space shuttle vibes just then. Does anyone else get space shuttle vibes? I mean, the space shuttle. Oh no. What on earth are those two hatches there? Where did they come from? I never spotted them before now. Well, hello. My, you have my attention. And Nakura. Oh, yes, that looks good. That looks really good. I wish Nakura Hull would get some more love. A little bit of texturing update. Come on, please, do it for us. You know you want to. Prevailing. I'm not entirely sure what I think of it, if I'm honest. Awkward shadow textures aside, it does look okay. Romulan Advanced Prototype Covariant Array. Oh! Oh! I was bracing myself for this one, but I did not have to. That's an interesting look, and I actually like it. Especially since the Tron green strips are very subtle on this design. It works. Temporal defense. Here we go. Finally. More finallys. It's missing the leather texture. Hello. But I'm not going to complain because the rest of it just looks absolutely stunning. I mean, temple technology exists for them, they're just not allowed to use it. So, yeah, good look. Very good look. Terran Task Force Covariant. Again, a very good look for the ship. Intimidating too. I could buy this. I could love this. This is a very nice look for the ship. Now we are to... Oh no. Dielectric oscillating. I'm sorry. Very dated and poor texturing aside, well, I say poor, poor in comparison to what Cryptic has now. That strangely works. And that's weird to me. It's not very often I look at it and think, okay, by all means, it's not among my favourites. But I actually like it more than the Bajoran one, so that's a first. Jem'Hadar. Now I've said it before, I was flying it in the stats review. This ship feels Dominion-esque to me. It feels like it's come from the Dominion, in my personal opinion. Especially if you turned it around and had this ship flying backwards. If this ship flew in this direction like it is right now, like that was the front of the ship. Yeah, I would have just screamed, it's a Dominion ship. It's a Dominion ship with detached nacelles. Come on! Do it! No, but seriously though. Jem'Hadar hull on this ship, with the fact that it already has that Dominion-esque feel, it just works. And it works so well. A beautiful look for the ship. Finally, the Marmite shields. You love them or you hate them. I've got to stop saying that because there's been a few recently where that's actually been proven wrong. But hey ho. Oh ho ho. How's it going? That's the first thing I say to you. This is stunningly sleek. I am a fan. A big fan. Oh, come on. I was trying to get a roll out of it then. There we go. Yeah, I think she looks really good with the Riemann on. Very, very good in my opinion. Need a bit more of that. Well, I'll be damned. And where does that lead me with the ship? Well, final thoughts on her are going to be very straightforward, guys. Very straightforward. Visually speaking, she gets, from me, 7 out of 10. For Cryptic reintroducing her to us, giving her aesthetic look, bearing in mind that they get the CGI model, but they've then got to import that to the game and reconstruct and rebuild certain elements, even improve certain elements to bring it into the game. So Cryptic have got a lot of work ahead of them after being given permission to use the model. I'm going to give Cryptic's work with this ship 9.5 out of 10. The reason I'm not giving them 10 out of 10 with their work on it, because I do know this is extremely screen accurate right now, is just because you pull it into a lockbox. So you're being penalized on that. Now, visually speaking, my gripes are the nacelles and the fact that they're detached. I'm not a fan of it. But I will respect it, and I will say that the main body of the ship still looks absolutely gorgeous. I do wish I could choose to not have the nacelles. That would be, if you had that choice added, I would have loved it. I'd have taken it straight away, and I'd be flying the ship myself right now for them doing that. But they didn't. And the nacelles aren't attached either, in the way that I joked earlier, so I'm not flying it for that reason either. I have, on my main account, put this ship into the exchange, and someone has already managed to get this ship for 500 mil, which is the amount I sold it for. I bought it for a bill, at least getting 50% of my EC back, okay? My personal opinion of the worth of this ship in the game is anywhere between 500 and 750 bill. Now I know due to the heavy gambling rate that it's never going to be that, or the heavy gambling price, it's never going to be that low. It's going to be in the bill range, so expect to be paying around about a bill, if not a little bit more, to get this ship. Definitely don't go for the bill 500 mark. That's just 1.5 bill is too much, okay? Way too much. She's not that aesthetically pleasing, nor is she stats-wise that mind-blowing. She is still a nice looking ship, and I do appreciate her to fly. That DPSs will probably appreciate too. I've probably been a bit too hard on her, but that's what she's going to get when it comes to the stats, at least, because they put her in the lockbox. I look forward to seeing the next ship. Hopefully that will be a Zen-Store ship that we can all get access to. Who am I kidding? It won't be, but hey, Cryptic might learn their lesson one day, or might actually start caring about the players one day. Until that is achieved, So allow me to wrap this up. Can I just say thank you to all of you who have watched to the very end of this video. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me, and it really helps this video out within YouTube's algorithm. If you've enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button and giving the video a share on your favourite social medias, because again, that really helps the growth of the channel. Also, can I give a further massive thank you to the individuals that helped to make this video possible. The donators, the past Patreons, the Twitch subscribers, and our newly boarded YouTube member, Spike. The generosity you guys have shown really helps this channel out and is helping me towards achieving the dream of the channel. Thank you. It's time to disembark. You can go our separate ways, or you can join the crew yourselves. Links are in the description if you wish to go for the further mile. But also, if you're joining the crew and sticking around, then don't forget to ring that notification bell and hit the subscribe in order to be kept up to date on future missions. And for those of you who are disembarking for now, please take care of yourself and stay safe. Remember everyone, you have the keys to unlocking your potential, and you are capable of anything you set your mind to. I believe in you. With that, remember, live long and prosper, my friends. Ciao for now.